Welcome to NexFlix, your quick stop for movie recaps. Get all the highlights and mind-blowing twists in just minutes. Our movie, Sky High, begins, telling the story of a world of superheroes where two stand out above all the others, Commander and his wife Jetstream. The Commander's physical strength makes him nearly unbeatable, while Jetstream can fly and is incredibly fast. During the day, they live under their real names, Steve and Josie, working in real estate. But when crime strikes, they change into their superhero costumes to deliver justice. Now, as they've aged, they have a son named Will. Will is weak and feels disappointed because he doesn't have any superpowers, a fact he hides from his father. He pretends to be strong, showing he can lift weights. Steve tells him, "I'm proud that today is your first day at the superhero school where I was raised. I hope you'll grow up to be like me and save the world." Their neighbor Layla, who is also going to the superhero school for the first time, joins Will. Steve receives an urgent call about a crime in the city, so he and Josie suit up to fight. Layla has the ability to revive dead plants. On TV, she and Will see a giant robot threatening the city's peace. Commander and Jetstream arrive to confront it. Commander lands a blow on its chest, breaking its right arm, effectively defeating it and taking its head as a trophy. Will turns off the TV and heads to school with Layla. Layla expresses her excitement about graduating and starting her crime-fighting journey like Will's parents. They board the school bus, and one of the school's secrets is that no one knows it exists. When the driver learns Will is the son of Commander and Jetstream, he announces it to the other kids, who start treating Will very well. A boy on the bus offers his seat to Will, but Will declines and sits with his friend Zach. Once all the kids are aboard, the driver takes a secret route. At the end of the path, the bus jumps, spreads wings, and flies to the school, which is called Sky High. The school floats on the clouds, suspended by anti-gravity technology. The bus lands, and the new students disembark, amazed by what they see. Like any school, there are bullies. Here, the bully is named Speed, who has super speed. He circles around the new students and, with his friend Lash, who has stretchy arms, tries to extort $15 from each student. Then Gwen, the student council president, introduces herself to them. Will falls in love with her at first sight. Later, they head to the gym, where the school principal, Powers, welcomes them and announces that they'll soon undergo a powers test. She leaves, and Captain Boomer arrives to test their abilities. He explains that after testing, he'll decide whether each student belongs in the hero team or the sidekick team. The hero team is the most prestigious and gets all the fame. He warns that every year some kids complain about his decisions, but his decision is final. The first student, Larry, demonstrates his power by transforming into a giant monster. Captain Boomer drops a car on him, and Larry catches it, earning a spot on the hero team. Zach goes next but fails to display any power. He explains that his power only works in the dark, but Captain Boomer dismisses it as unimportant and assigns him to the sidekick team. One by one, students with useful powers join the hero team, while those with weak or useless powers are placed in the sidekick team. When it's Layla's turn, she declines to demonstrate her power, saying she only uses it in special circumstances. Captain Boomer assigns her to the sidekick team. After a break, it's Will's turn. Will admits he doesn't know his superpower yet. Captain Boomer thinks he's joking and throws a car at him to force his power to manifest, but nothing happens. He tries another test to see if Will can fly like his mother, but Will fails again. Captain Boomer believes him and places him in the sidekick team. Will visits the school nurse, who explains that it's rare for someone born to two superheroes not to have powers, so he'll likely develop them eventually. That night, Steve takes Will to his secret lair for the first time, showing him the trophies he's collected from past battles, including the robot's head. Steve tells him that one day, the three of them will fight crime together. Will wants to confess that he has no powers but doesn't want to disappoint his father. Suddenly, the robot's head starts glowing, revealing someone is watching them. Later, Will sits alone at night, and Layla joins him to comfort him about his yet-to-be-discovered powers. The next day at school, Will attends a sidekick team class taught by Mr. Boy, who promises to train them to be the best sidekicks. He explains that without sidekicks, heroes would feel lonely. Zach asks when they'll get superhero names and costumes, but Mr. Boy says they won't have their own. Upon graduation, they'll be assigned to a hero from the hero team, who will choose their name and costume. It turns out Mr. Boy was once Commander's sidekick. The sidekick team begins training, and later, Will invites his sidekick friends to study at his house. Steve meets them and is shocked by their weak powers. Will explains that they're sidekicks, and Steve praises him for the smart move of associating with sidekicks. He befriended the assistants team, and of course, Steve didn't know that Will, his son, was part of the assistants team. He asked Will, would you be upset if I were part of the assistance team? Will replied, not at all. Steve was happy, but Will then told him, I failed the test and was placed in the assistance team. Steve got angry, banged the table, and was about to call Captain Boomer to yell at him. But Will said, the problem is with me, I don't have superpowers. Steve was shocked because he didn't know this and told him, don't worry, you'll have superpowers someday, God willing. But Will replied, I'm not interested. I'm proud to be in the assistance team, and he left. The next day, Steve was very frustrated and shared the story with Josie. Josie told him, we don't have to be the strongest superhero family in the world. We can just be the best family overall. Steve agreed and said, then let's have him work with us in real estate. Meanwhile, at school, two bullies were picking on Will while he was holding food, and they ended up falling on it. Will apologized to them, but one of the bullies, named Bess, said, you should be sorry. You'll enjoy school because of your pathetic family. Will replied again, I'm sorry for what my dad did to your dad. This made Bess furious, and he wanted to use his powers to burn him. The situation escalated, and Bess started throwing fireballs at Will, who defended himself with difficulty. Will tried to run and activate the fire alarm, but one of the bullies tripped him. Bess kept attacking him until Will's friends arrived. Bess was about to attack them too, but Will protected them, lifted a table with Bess on it, and threw him far away. It seemed that Will's superpower had emerged, it was physical strength. He gave Bess another strong blow, sending him flying. After that, the fire alarm was activated, and the fire was extinguished. The principal arrived and took both of them to a room called the detention room, which neutralizes all. The principal told them, at this school, we teach you how to use your superpowers. How you use them is up to you, but don't forget the reputation of your parents that you're supposed to uphold instead of tarnishing it. Keep this in mind if you try to cause trouble again. She then left, and Will tried to apologize to Bess, but Bess refused and said, if you cross my path again, I'll destroy you. Will went home but still couldn't control his new power. He accidentally broke the door while entering the house and went to show his parents his new power. His mom told him, the principal called us and told us about the fight. It seems you don't know how to use your new power wisely. Steve suggested taking him to the secret hideout to train him, but he said this in front of Josie, who was very happy that Will finally had powers. Moreover, his power was the same as Steve's, meaning Will inherited it directly from him. Meanwhile, aliens monitoring him through a helmet discovered that Will had gained superpowers and said, when the time is right, we will take revenge. The next day at school, Will received a letter transferring him to the heroes team. He was happy but also a bit sad about leaving his friends. He attended the heroes class, where Gwen, the student leader, was present. He sat next to her, and she helped him with an exam by creating a gun that could freeze things, thanks to her superpower of moving objects. It was also clear that Gwen admired Will and told him she wanted to be his private tutor. Will agreed and spent the break with her and her friends. When his old friends from the assistance team tried to join them at the same table, Gwen's friends refused. This upset Will, so he went to reconcile with Layla and invited her to dinner that night. Layla agreed. Later, Will heard their friend Larry being bullied, so he went to rescue him. His friends then dragged Will into a confrontation with the bullies. Despite not wanting trouble, Will's friends insisted he stand up to them. The bullies accepted the challenge, and the match was set. The bullies chose Bess to be Will's partner in the team challenge. The challenge involved saving human-like dummies within 3 minutes. The match began, with Speed attacking Will and Bess every time they got close to the dummies. Will hit the ground with his hand, managing to grab Speed and tie him to a pole. Speed then ran circles around Bess until Bess lost oxygen. Will had the chance to save the dummies before time ran out but chose to save Bess instead. He grabbed Speed and threw him away, then threw Bess toward the dummies in the final second, saving them. Despite this, Bess refused to shake Will's hand. That night, Steve was very proud of Will's victory. Gwen visited their house to help Will study. They all had dinner together, joked, and laughed. Gwen invited Steve and Josie to be guests of honor at the welcome party for the new class, and they agreed. Meanwhile, Layla waited for Will at the restaurant as they had planned, but he didn't show up. She was upset but didn't show it. She was surprised to find that Bess worked at the restaurant. They talked and got to know each other, and Layla confided that she liked Will. Bess advised her to confess her feelings if she liked someone. Will's family showed Gwen their photo album, and Steve noticed a picture of Gwen's father, whom he hadn't recognized before. Later, Will walked Gwen home, and she told him she had chosen him as her partner for the party. Will was thrilled. The aliens, who learned about the party where all the superheroes would gather, decided to attend. The next day, Will wanted to tell Layla about what had happened the previous night, but she reminded him about their missed dinner. She told him she wasn't upset but wanted to know who he would take to the party. Will said he would go with Gwen. Layla was disappointed but didn't show it. When Will asked her on the bus who she would go with, she replied, "I'm going with Bess." Will was shocked and asked, "How can you go out with him? He's my sworn enemy. When did you even get to know him?" Layla replied, "Last night at the restaurant you didn't come to." She sat with Bess and told him everything that happened with Will a while ago. Layla's friends came and sat with him, which annoyed Bess a lot. Will passed by, saw them sitting together, and Layla laughed suddenly as if Bess was entertaining them and being lighthearted. When Bess realized she was doing that to annoy Will, he agreed to go out with her to the party. At night, Gwen went to Will's house and taught him how to make the freezing gun by himself. Then she suggested they have a small party at his house. He agreed on the condition that the number of attendees would be small. When the party time came, he was surprised that the whole school showed up. He got upset because he didn't know how to clean up after all those people, especially since his parents didn't know he was throwing a party at home. He told Gwen that he wanted to invite his assistant friends. Gwen told him they wouldn't enjoy it if they came. Afterward, he took her to his dad's secret hideout and showed her his dad's gadgets. Something got stolen, but Will didn't notice. Layla was passing by Will's house, saw the party, and was surprised he threw a party and didn't invite her. She entered the party, and Gwen saw her. Gwen already knew Layla liked Will, so she told her that Will knew she liked him but was avoiding her and was too shy to tell her. She added that the proof was him throwing the party and not inviting her. Layla got very upset, cried, and left. Will came but found that Layla had already left. He asked Gwen why Layla was crying. When Gwen told him what happened, Will said he wouldn't go to the welcome party with her and didn't want to know her anymore. He kicked everyone out just as his parents arrived. His parents didn't know how to react because he threw a party at home behind their backs. Will told them, "Punish me, but don't make me go to the welcome party because I wasn't going to go anyway." But his parents insisted he had to go since they were the guests of honor. Will was still determined not to go. He tried to call Layla but got no response. He went to the restaurant where she was sitting and sent her a voice message saying he was waiting for her. At the restaurant, he found Bess, sat with him, and told him the truth, that he and Layla were going to the party together just to make him jealous. He told Bess that Layla liked him a lot, but he didn't notice. When the party time came, Will had decided not to go. His mom, Josie, gave him the photo album to keep with him. As he flipped through it, he was surprised to see a girl who looked a lot like Gwen. He saw her holding a weapon in another photo. That weapon was supposed to be in their secret hideout but had gone missing. He realized Gwen was planning something evil and decided he had to go to the party. Steve and Josie arrived at the party, and everyone welcomed them. Suddenly, Gwen changed her outfit, and aliens arrived as well. Gwen used the weapon she had stolen from Steve's hideout, which could make anyone younger and turn them into children. She used it on Steve, Josie, and everyone at the party. The bullies and a few others with powers sided with Gwen. Bess, Layla, and the assistants managed to escape through the air vents. Will arrived at the school, met them, apologized to Layla, and confessed his love for her. He left Bess and the assistants to fight Gwen's team and went to save the superheroes who had been turned into children. Gwen had taken all the children to a bus to get rid of them. Will confronted her and learned that she was actually an older woman who had used weapons on herself to stop aging. She flew at him, and the battle began. The fight was evenly matched, but in the end, Gwen threw Will completely out of the school, and he began falling through the air, about to die. But Will discovered he could also fly, inheriting his parents' powers. He attacked Gwen and defeated her. Afterward, all the children returned to their original ages. Will apologized to his parents for taking Gwen to the secret hideout. Steve told him it didn't matter as long as he managed to win, save them, and save the school. The assistants who helped save the school were awarded the Hero of the Year trophy. This eliminated the distinction between assistants and heroes. The principal imprisoned Gwen and her team in a light chamber that neutralized superpowers. And with that, the episode ended. Stay tuned for the upcoming episodes. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to like, share,